Hello and welcome to a Tin Dog podcast. Now, I'll be talking about Ahsoka episode 1 right now. Now, I am looking forward to it, and I don't know a huge amount of Ahsoka backstory. So, I thought I'd sit down, do some research, and then, give you one episode at a time, not two, although Disney did put 2 episodes out on day 1. But that's not fair, because if you want to do a watch along, you kind of go, yeah, I'm going to watch 1 episode at a time. This is probably going to be watched in the future by people, not an immediate reaction kind of a thing, but this is my immediate reaction. There's not a lot of people who know that much about it. As far as most Star Wars fans are concerned, I would say she's turned up in The Mandalorian, she's been rock hard, and then she's got her own series. Now, that's not completely true. Her first appearance was like 15 years ago inside the Clone Wars animated movie, which is the thing that I sat down to watch. I thought, I'll give it a go before she's on TV, and then I'll be able to talk to you, my beloved listener, and find out more. So, I watched the movie, which is the introduction of the character Ahsoka being introduced to Anakin as his Padawan, so that it's a master and apprentice kind of situation. It's a very good film. It's animated, which, I like. And that character develops a bond with Anakin as they try to rescue Jabba's son / offspring. Yeah. Now, I was a big fan of the Clone Wars TV series, the 2D animated version as it morphed into the 3D animated version, but I kind of lost track with the animated versions of Star Wars. They weren't always available in the UK. You had to pay to track them down, but it was good. So I've not seen that much stuff. We've got Bad Batch, which is season 1 and 2, and we've got the Rebels. Now, apparently this character is in, I believe, and I'm probably wrong, so don't bother to put comments, that there are 3 seasons of Rebels, which has her and Ezra. Now, I know quite a lot because Ezra is the person with the incredibly excellent lightsaber. That's a blaster as well. I've seen the first 5 episodes of Rebels, and I do intend watching them all. But obviously, you only have a certain amount of time, especially when you're a grown-up. You can't go, I'm just going to binge this lot. And then, while somebody else in the house is getting on with stuff, you are the person who gets on with stuff in the house. So I'm watching these whenever I can. I thought best to watch Rebels off and on, but then I started watching Bad Batch, and I really liked that. So I kind of started watching that instead at night, and then I would fall asleep, so I keep having to skip back. Anyway, you don't need that. What you need is a reaction to Ahsoka episode 1. There will be an episode 2 reaction as soon as I've seen it. But like I said, we watched episode 1 and stopped. It stops with another character from Rebels. Now, it is weird that what they've done is the person who was in charge of the animated series is basically in charge of a live action series, which is series 4 of an animated series. It's like Rebels the Next Gen or Rebels the Same Gen. Rebels series 4. We'll call it Ahsoka just so that we can differentiate. But all it's really acting as is an advert to make a lot of people who weren't interested in the cartoons to go back and watch the cartoons. Which, as a maker of cartoons, as I used to be, not a bad thing. So, narrative-wise, you've got the Ahsoka character, you've got other characters from Rebels, you've even got the Kurgan from Highlander turning up to be the voice. Now, this week, this summer holidays, my family and I watched Good Omens Series 2. I convinced them to watch it. And because we were watching it, they weren't overly impressed. My daughter loved Series 1. I loved Series 1. My wife went, it's all right. Series 2 needs a lot of tweaking, a lot of work. For example, there's a whole thing about using the lift to get up and down from heaven and hell. And then having to use the stairs because there's so many of them. However, they just end up evaporating to heaven and hell at the end of the episode because they have the powers. So they could have done that anyway. There's a lot of little moments that were just annoying for a lot of people. And there was a lot of David Tennant. So as soon as we watch Good Omens, they go, thank God we've finished with that. We don't have to watch it anymore. Which is obviously a great review. And then I get them to watch Ahsoka. And I can catch them out the corner of my eye staring at me. You've got us watching more David Tennant, haven't you? And yes, Tennant is back doing the voice. And let's face it, in the animated world, you've got Tennant doing one of the voices, and you've also got Tom Baker doing one of the voices of a big dragony thing. So Doctor Who actors being used in animated Star Wars is fine. Tennant's performance as not C-3PO, who's in charge of lightsabers, is very, very good. I've got no questions about that. So that means he's got Harry Potter, Good Omens, let me see, Doctor Who. Oh yeah, David Tennant did do Doctor Who. And Doctor Who. Oh, and Doctor Who. Yeah, so he's done that. And is he in absolutely every single franchise going? Probably. Let's leave it there. So my family weren't overly impressed. It's setting a lot of the groundwork. But as my daughter wasn't particularly interested, she was just doing a jigsaw. It was quite silent. There was a lot of stuff happening on screen. The business with the speeder bike looked good, but it was fairly predictable. Stop, don't run off to the distance. No, don't go. Oh, you've gone. I've got this map, which looks like a Rubik's ball thing. And how could we read it? Oh, I'm clever, I'll do that. So it's a Mandalorian who's a Jedi, and in The Mandalorian you've got a Jedi who wants to be a Mandalorian, and oh, that's fine. Does this fit completely with the universe? And if that's the case, does this mean that Darth Maul might turn up stuck together with some glue and sticky tape? We don't know. I liked it. I'm not sure I liked it as much as everyone else on the internet, but I think the reason that I'm not at the same point as them is that I've not seen episode 2 yet. But I know I will, and I'll watch that very soon. And then, as always, I'll have a chat with you afterwards. So until then, I'll say good start, looks great, some very, very nice performances. I'm sorry to say that the actor playing main Jedi for hire with a nice red lightsaber is dead now in real life, which is a shame because the character and the performance was brilliant. So until next time, when I'll be talking more of the same, be seeing you. That was the Tin Dog Podcast. Everything discussed is the intellectual property of others. No infringement is intended. For early access to reviews, follow the show on YouTube or Twitter @Tin Dog Podcast. To contact the show, email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.